There was no secret words.
Welcome to worship with the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. My name is Reverend Jennifer Innes. It is my great joy to be the minister with this congregation of people of all ages at all stages of life. This is a beloved community striving to live into its mission of embracing freedom, growing in mind, body, and spirit, loving wholeheartedly, and adding to the wholeness and the healing of the world. We welcome people of all ethnicities and races, sexual orientations, gender identities, social and economic situations, politics and abilities. And we commit ourselves to being good stewards of this earth and to be advocates for human rights. In living our mission, we recognize how we are part of a deep network of relationship. And as part of that network, we take a moment, as we have been requested by the Peoria people, to recognize that this is their ancestral home. The Peoria people were here long before the first European settlers came down the Illinois River. So we take a moment to recognize the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. I want to thank folks for joining us in person and online. We recognize how precious it is to be together, to expand our circles of care and relationship. And so if you are new, please help us get to know you. We have all the name tags. You're welcome to ask all the questions. And I want to invite us to stay for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall after the service today, if you're with us in person. We also have a chance for folks to chat if you're joining us on Zoom as well. And let me invite us to check the self for all respective devices, that they be turned to worship mode, whether buzzy or silent. Helpful graphic to understand. We go for Android as well as Apple. I have a few notes for this morning. First, I want to just welcome and recognize Regina Stanley, our membership coordinator. This is today, she is offering her first sermon, very first sermon. So no pressure, but you're good. We're amongst friends, right? And this has been part of, we so appreciate Regina coming to the congregation in the role of membership coordinator in November 2022. And she's been getting to know us and us her, and has been taking part of a sermon writing class through our larger Unitarian Universalist Association. And we get the gift of that today. So thank you, Regina. Also today at noon, we have an orchid care clinic. You know, the things I never know what's going to show up in congregational life. Orchid care clinic, what a lovely one, right? Offered by Joyce Rosenberger. They'll be gathering in the conference room at about noon, and come and just talk about flowers and hear what Joyce has to say. This afternoon, I want to invite families with youth in grade 6 and up to join us over at United Presbyterian Church. The Affirming Faith Communities youth are gathering together this afternoon at 5 o'clock, and we'll be doing some kind of like nachos, which is always good, and Bob Ross painting experience. I have no idea. I look forward to being there. So if you have questions, come and see me. In a couple of weeks on May 5th, please keep that in mind. May 5th, we have a very special music guest for leading our worship, and that is Jim Scott, our Unitarian Universalist musician. He is a musician and earth activist, and he will lead the service, offer messages on Gaia and Mother Earth. And just for a little bit of reference, if you don't know his name, he is the composer of the hymn Gather the Spirit, which is one we've sung a number of times. And it's really a treat to be able to welcome him here from Massachusetts. Bring your friends and family and listen for the promotions on public radio as well. And now I want to invite, we have a beginning message about the annual campaign from Galen. Yep. Galen Bailey.
Good morning. First off, thank you so much to those who have already pledged and those who have raised their pledges. Our current total is $240,160. This means that we have passed our next threshold, and we will have ice cream in the fellowship hall after the service. So please join us for ice cream. And yes, thank you all. If you have not pledged yet, I'd like to encourage you to do so. We very much would like to have as many pledges in as possible by May 5th, in 2 weeks. As Reverend Jennifer just mentioned, that is the day that Jim Scott will be our musical guest. So as you come to enjoy Jim's music and message, please bring in your pledge form and drop it off. If you are new or were not able to pledge last year, we have a very special offer for you. Every dollar you pledge will be doubled by a special fund established for new and reinstated pledges. This means that your donations will go twice as far. Finally, you may have noticed I'm wearing a ridiculously large badge that says, "Ask me about pledging." The members of the annual campaign team are wearing these, and we'd love to have a conversation with you if you have any questions, or if we just need to give you a new pledge form if yours went missing. To make it easier to find us, we'll have a table in the foyer before service, and we'll be in fellowship hall after the service as well. So grab an ice cream and come and say hello. Again, thank you so much for your generosity. It is because of you that we can be the church that says yes. I'd now like to welcome Lindy Peterson, who will share some stories of times the church has said yes.
Morning. So, like Galen said, our theme for the annual campaign this year is the church that says yes. So now seems like a good time to share with you some of the times our church has said yes throughout our 180-year history. I want to thank Kathy Carter because she put together the research and compiled all of these examples. So in 1866, Peoria Universalist women established an organization called the Christian Home Mission, whose purpose was to do charitable work. As one of its first projects, the Christian Home Mission established an industrial school, whose purpose was to assist busy and needy women by teaching their daughters to make and mend their own garments. They started with 7 children, and they met in a small room in the home of a church member. The number of children in attendance increased rapidly. After the large Universalist church on Main Street was completed in 1867, they moved there and started using the Sunday school room in that building. 2 years later, they moved to another building downtown because it had better light. The industrial school continued until around 1901, and they closed probably because of the threat of a scarlet fever epidemic. Around the same time the industrial school was created, the Christian Home Mission also initiated a project called district visiting. They divided the city up into 12 districts, and 1 or 2 volunteers were assigned to visit each district. Those volunteers identified families in need, and they provided them with assistance in the form of groceries, coal, blankets, and clothing. District visiting continued until about 1937. So let me reiterate. A year after the Civil War ended, our church members saw ways that they could help the community, and our church said yes. We provided education and practical skills to local children for 35 years. And if we'd had Zoom in 1901, they probably would have kept going even with scarlet fever. We provided direct assistance to families all over the city, and we kept doing it for 70 years. And that was a time that included a number of economic ups and downs, the 1918 flu pandemic and World War I. So our church did that. I'm not saying that we need to be like outdoing or showing up our ancestors just in this year's annual campaign, all right? But I do think that we honor their legacy by continuing to say yes to this church, and we continue to find ways to help in our community and make a difference. Thanks.
So I wanted to share, thought this Sunday would be a good moment to share something, a way that which we're showing up and saying yes right now. And we are having a TikTok moment. We're having a TikTok moment. Now, in case you don't know, TikTok, or haven't been hearing the congressional debates or whatever those are, TikTok is one of the major social media applications around the world, and it's all about creating and sharing videos. And the video I'm about to show you is one created by Hillary Wasson. She brought her family to our Easter egg hunt a couple of weeks ago. And at that time, she spoke with myself and with Jesse, our educator, that she was creating a video and would share it. And we said, that sounds great. And in the video, she talks a little bit about experience of recovering from religious trauma and how we offer a truly welcoming and healing place. And that the egg hunt was a lot of fun. And that the egg hunt was based on some of our Unitarian Universalist values. And she gave permission to share the video with the congregation. And I also want to add that the egg hunt and the execution of it was created by Jesse Laughlin, our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, and the Religious Education Committee, and a bunch of other volunteers. So let me invite us to watch the video.
So this is how I usually feel when I go to churches nowadays. Thanks, deconstruction. So why did I not only willingly go to church on Easter, but leave happy?
Whoa!
Well, we went to the Unitarian.
Excellent!
They let you know right from the get-go where they stand. I've always felt so welcome every time I come here. You're surrounded by decor and signs that you are welcome no matter what you believe. You can tell that they go the extra mile to make sure everybody feels comfortable. They even have fidgets right in the sanctuary. You know, if it helps. But we went there for Easter, so they had an Easter egg hunt. But the eggs were empty, and the kids did not care, and here's why. They had this awesome setup where you got to put your eggs in a basket to decide how the church spends their funds. The kids were so excited to put the eggs that they collected in the egg hunt in their baskets. The Help Heal the Earth and the Help Animals buckets were the most full. Plus, the kids knew they'd be getting some candy later, so they were excited. So here's all the stations they had set up for the kids to do after their eggs. Here's the first one. Take a heart-shaped rock to remind you that love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. Next, choose a superhero sticker to remind you to fight against racism and all forms of oppression. You know those sticky web toys? Take a sticky web to remind you that we honor the interdependent web of all existence and we acknowledge our place in it. Then they had several fidgets to choose from and a sign about equity. Choose a fidget that's right to you. To remember that we work towards building and sustaining fully accessible and inclusive communities. Generosity. Take a gold coin to remind you that we freely and compassionately share our faith, our presence, and our resources. Then, of course, some candy with a sign about pluralism. Take a baggie of different treats to remember that we embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. So as if this whole thing wasn't brilliant enough, they ended with slime. With a sign about transformation. Make some slime to remind you that we covenant to transform and grow spiritually and ethically. You'll just have to trust me when I say the kids loved it. We've had discussions the whole rest of the day about these important topics. As somebody with considerable religious trauma, this felt safe within my soul, and we will be going back.
So we will be sending out this video so folks can watch it again and check it out. And if you're on, I know know I shared it around on Facebook, as many members are. You're welcome to share it around as well. Please do so. Tell your friends about it. And if you go to the original TikTok video, this actually finally got me to put TikTok on my phone. I did because I wanted to see the comments. The comments are both heartwarming and heartbreaking because so many people said, yes, I grew up UU. I had a great experience. Yes, this is wonderful. Or on the other side, wow, I had no idea church could be like this. Where can I find one? This was not my experience. This is really just healing just to see this. How can I find such a place? And I will also add, there were very few mean comments. There weren't that many. So this is a bigger moment. This video going out into the world has over 100,000 people have liked this video. Thousands of people have shared it. Thousands of people have commented on it. And people are still commenting on it. And so this is really bigger than us. It's bigger than one congregation. I've even shared it with our Unitarian Universalist Association. So if you wonder what difference we make in this corner of the world, this is one of those moments. And it's such a moment of imagination and healing comes from the spirit of this place. What a gift to be part of this beloved community. All of us need all of us to make it. And I will also offer that Hillary, who created the video, came the next week and now is a member. So not so bad either. She couldn't be with us in person today, but I'm so glad that she gave us permission to share. Right. Now, I invite us to please rise and body your spirit for our opening hymn, number 21 in the gray hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth.
Being Sanctuary by Joe Von Rue and Lynette Lowe. Welcome to this space, the sanctuary of peace where we come to not only create our best selves, but to also do the work of creating a beloved community. We come together today as individuals, much like individual pieces of glass or pottery that are different shapes, sizes, and colors, all of which are broken with imperfect, jagged edges, but always beautiful. While our pieces may not always fit neatly together, it is within this sanctuary, guided by our principles, that we gather together to create a beautiful mosaic. May the brokenness and beauty you find in one another create peace in this space and fill our hearts with love as we create worship together. And now I'd like to invite Penny Keister up for the chalice lighting.
Does the Match Love the Wick by Kelly Wiseman Athpruce Jackson. Does the match love the wick? Does the wick love the wax of the air it consumes? Yes, without question. To melt together, to burn together, to change together. The pieces of the candle must love each other, though not necessarily wisely and not necessarily well.
I invite us into a moment of reflection, of meditation, of being in this time and place. As we enter into our music for meditation, you're welcome to come forward and light a candle to Mark what is in your mind or on your heart. We share the light so gathered, that the light may be brighter and more known in the world, in all of its fullness, in all that is in us and with us. Let us enter into our music for meditation. Breathe with me. Breathe with me the breath of life that we inhale, inspire, known as inspiration, pneuma, spiritus, the Holy Spirit, so many names for breath. Breathe with me and know we are interdependent, that the spirit of life flows through us all. Breathe with me as we do the holy work of interconnection and relationship, that our work here may be blessed. With Earth Day in mind, I want to share a joy from the Peoria tribe of Indians from Oklahoma. The Peoria tribe welcomes its first baby bison to be born on Peoria lands. I mean, it's adorable. I'm just saying. The blessing is so special. It is the firstborn calf from the genetically pure Yellowstone National Park bison herd that was successfully transferred to tribal lands just in January. We offer care and wishes for health to Pat Cofield's sister, Jenny. Jenny just suffered a major stroke and is on a ventilator. So let us keep Jenny and Pat and the Cofield family in our hearts. We offer a note of condolence to Terry and Bruce Thiemann for the death of Terry's brother, Michael McNulty. Michael died on April 5th. Let's offer our sympathy and our care to the whole family. Let us take one more moment for all the joys, the sorrows, the names, the milestones that are with us. Let us share one more moment of quiet together in this circle of care. I invite you to breathe with me. Shalom, salam, and blessed be. And now I invite Heather forward for the story.
So when I was asked to read this last night and I was going over it, it called up an image from my childhood that was really comforting to me. Sometimes in the evening, I would ride our horses through our hayfield, and without having many lights around, feel very small but very connected. So I'd ask as I read this, for those of us for whom childhood might be a little further in the rearview mirror, that you try to call up an image in your head of a time where you felt small but connected to the greater mystery. The name of this book is Life by Cynthia Relant, illustrated by Brendan Wenzel. Life. Life begins small. Even for elephants. Then it grows beneath the sun and the moon. Life grows. Ask any animal on earth, what do you love about life? The hawk will say sky. The camel will say sand. The snake will say grass. The turtle may remain quiet. Did it go? I think the battery may have, there we go. The turtle may remain quiet. It has seen much in its 100 years, but the turtle loves life. How could it not? with so much rain on its back. Life is not always easy. There will probably be a stretch of wilderness now and then. But wilderness eventually ends. And there is always a new road to take. Remember this: in every corner of the world, there is something to love. And something to protect. And if one day it seems nothing beautiful will ever come your way again, trust the rabbit in the field and the deer who crosses your path. Trust the wolf and the wild geese who find their way back home. All these know something about life, that everything is changing. And it is worth waking up in the morning to see what might happen. Because life begins small and grows.
Thank you, Heather. And now I would like to invite our children and youth and their adults to go forward for their program for today. Let us sing them out with Go Now in Peace. I want to offer an invitation in this moment, for this is the time of our offering. I want to invite you to give what you will, to give what you can into a moment, into a community that means so much for the church that has meant so much to those who have come before, and for the church that will mean so much for the people who will come after. In so many ways, we are here in this living, breathing moment, each of us in our time, and yet we are simply stewards of this moment as well. We are simply stewards of this great tradition, this great effort to be progressive, liberal, shouting voices into the void, and sometimes it gets heard. Thank goodness. So give what you will, for we are a generous people. We also send a bit of what we receive out into the world through our Share the Plate. Each week, 1/3 of the undesignated offering goes to our monthly recipient. This month, we are supporting the Central Illinois Center for the Blind and the Visually Impaired. They provide programs and services to meet the emotional, educational, social, and cultural needs of those they serve, because they have a dream that people will be able to fully participate, have full access, and it makes a little bit of a difference to each person if they move that forward every day. So 1/3 of the undesignated offering goes to the Central Illinois Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Please use the envelopes in the pews for making the offering, indicating its use. Go to the QR code in the order of service if you'd like to make an online donation. And thank you for all the gifts. And now I want to invite the ushers to please pass the plates. Our reading today is a litany of becoming from enfleshed. To become is a lifelong process. Nothing is constant, not even the self. We evolve in the midst of narratives meant only for some and ways of being made narrow by fear and power. We must then have courage to listen to the truth of our own lives, to the wisdom that comes from within, responding without resistance or need to control, but welcome and curiosity.
This is what ensures our becoming is an unfolding of our truest self. This lifelong labor cannot be carried out alone. It requires help from friends and lovers, family and creaturely companions who bear witness to what makes us come alive and say to us, listen, look, feel, pay attention to that.
This is loving, and this is being loved.
Telling the stories, sharing in the memories, giving thanks for the relationships, understandings, and experiences past that have shaped us to this day.
This is loving and being loved. Celebrating new things that excite, holding risks together, leaning into the unknowns with promises of support and companionship. This is loving and being loved.
Listening to the future, calling uniquely to each of us in the midst of all of life's noise. Helping one another find our place in the shared labor of collective life. Supporting each other in what it is the world's ache is asking from us.
This is loving and being loved.
to say for the first time, this is who I am. This is the truth of my body. This is what I know about myself. This is my name, and this is where my path is leading me. And to have it heard, have it received, have it affirmed, and then to say it again and again as we change and as the world changes, and to have each proclamation greeted with an open-armed embrace.
This is loving and being loved. There is no me without you. We shape one another. The sacred that birthed us weaves our lives together so that we can only find ourselves through shared becoming.
For my journey and all its winding ways, for yours, for all the saints who have labored for what it is, all the kin whose lives made ours possible.
For all those yet to come, for whom living our truths today will mean breaking possibilities open for them tomorrow. We pause, we give thanks, we acknowledge.
This is loving and being loved. I invite you to join me in Rise in Body or Spirit for our hymn number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
Good morning. For those of you who don't know, my name is Regina Stanley, and I am the membership coordinator here at a Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. I first found this church just a little over a year ago. So I want to preface this by saying that I did have permission from my son to share his part of this story. He just said, make it good. So the first gay person I ever knew was one of my uncles. My mother's youngest brothers are twins and are 10 years older than me. Growing up, they were like big brothers. I thought they were so cool. I still kind of do. I remember when one of them came out as gay to the family. It created quite a buzz. I was surprised by my grandmother's reaction to the news. She had grown up Catholic, in fact, came from a long line of Catholics, and raised her children in the Lutheran Church. She was a devoted Christian and a no-nonsense kind of person. I'm sure I expected her to react negatively. I also think there were probably some hard conversations that took place that I was not privy to, However, what I remember most is actually her lack of a reaction. What I witnessed was a mother who loved her son and continued to love her son unconditionally. Nothing seemed to change. In fact, I recently learned that after he first told her, she asked him questions and then said, "Okay, I'm off to bowling." Isn't that exactly how it should be? When my uncle married his partner several years later, before it was even legal, my grandmother was there in the front row, being loving and supportive. Much of the family continued on in our churches that taught us that homosexuality was a sin. I questioned a lot of it, but thought the pastor knew better than me. There were a lot of things that didn't make sense to me, actually, but I thought the problem was me, not everyone around me. I did believe in a loving God, so I didn't think that gay people were going to hell, but I believed that they were not living the life that God had intended for them. I did not think that people were born gay. I thought it was a choice, even if that choice was an unconscious one. God, who I was told was perfect, surely wouldn't have created them gay, because that contradicted who God was, or so I thought. So I continued loving them, supporting them, while also secretly judging them. So smug. One night, almost 5 years ago now, as I sat on my couch watching television, my youngest son, who was 16 at the time, came into the room. He seemed nervous and wanted to talk to me. He told me he had asked a boy to the homecoming dance. My heart stopped and my mind raced. What happens now? What does this mean for him? What is his life going to look like? While there was an explosion in my mind, I think outwardly I was calm and cool, I hope. But what happened next changed everything. This boy that I loved with every fiber of my being sat on the floor next to me and put his head in my lap and asked me if I still loved him. My heart shattered, not because my son was gay, but because my beliefs had caused him to question my love for him. And in that moment, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was not a choice he made. This was who he was. I assured him that I did still love him, and nothing would ever change that. Then I began the work of examining what I had been taught my whole life and what I believed. This was the beginning of the deconstruction of my Christian faith. I had someone say to me once, "Do you want someone to tell you what to believe? Or do you want to figure it out for yourself?" Mind blown. I didn't even know that that was an option. This is one of the reasons why I'm so grateful to have found this church, where I have the freedom and safety to learn from various sources and figure out what I believe. And I know wherever I land in those beliefs, I will always belong in the UU Church. Here's what I have learned in the last few years. I have learned to always be open to learning from the people around me. I have learned to question everything. I have learned that I don't really know anything, except love. The love I have for my children, that is real. That is true. I'm not even sure if I believe in God anymore. But if one exists, I'm sure she created my son and all of us just how she intended. While some bad theology was passed on to me from generations before, I was also gifted with the role model of my grandmother who loved her children unconditionally. I think the most important thing we can do is to love people. Isn't that what life is really about? Not the imposter kind of love that says, "I love you, so I want to make sure you become how I think you should be for your own good." But rather, the kind of love that cherishes people for who they are and allows them to grow fully into the best versions of themselves. My children are perfect as they are, and I hope they don't stay that way. I hope I have taught them to grow and change as needed and build a life that feels right to them. I hope that for all of us. During the course of writing these reflections for the Shared Pulpit that I've been participating in for the past several months, I was able to connect the dots and see how I was able to more easily adapt and adjust when my son revealed his truth to me because of the path my grandmother had cleared before me. The day after I wrote the first draft of this message, my grandmother went to the hospital with breathing troubles. 10 days later, she passed away, surrounded by her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. Those 10 days gave us all the opportunity to say what we needed to say to her. I was able to share these thoughts with her and tell her how much her modeling of unconditional love meant to me. Her ability to adapt and learn and grow when presented with new information is the best thing she passed down to me, and I will forever be grateful. As I reflect on the journey that led me to this moment, I'm struck by the transformative power of love. Folks, I used to literally pray that my children would not be gay. It was in a book. There was a book of prayers for parents. And now I'm a board member with PFLAG Peoria. Last year, I helped this church organize our participation in Pride Fest. I feel like a beautiful butterfly. It's easy to become entangled in the rigid confines of tradition or dogma, but love has a way of unraveling those constraints, freeing us to embrace the fullness of humanity. But love isn't just a power that influences us. It's a choice we make every day. It's choosing to listen with an open heart, to challenge our own assumptions, and to extend grace to those who journey alongside us. So, I invite you to consider, how has love challenged and transformed you? Are you willing to embrace the discomfort of growth, to shed the layers of prejudice and judgment, and to truly see the inherent worth and dignity of those around you? As we depart from this sacred space, may we carry with us the legacy of love passed down through generations. And may we continue to cultivate a world where all are cherished for who they are and where love knows no bounds.
I got it. Thank you, Regina. Please join me in our closing hymn, number 1053 in the TL hymnal, How Could Anyone? Together, we have enjoyed the warmth and beauty of stories of this flame, of this special community. As our chalice flame is extinguished this morning, we can still remember its glow being carried with us. We use our inner lights and this flame to kindle new sparks throughout our lives and in the world. May the spirit of peace and togetherness bless our lives.
May you leave this time together changed. May the promises you have made to yourself about who you want to be feel closer to the reality of who you are right now. May you share that feeling of transformation wherever you go. May it spread into every word, deed, thought, and interaction until we are all changed, transformed, and transforming together, becoming our better selves. Our worship has ended. Let our service begin.